Well, good afternoon, West Ham fans. Let's talk about David Moyes' press conference ahead of the game on Sunday against Palace. Yes, everybody, Hammers Headlines Association with the KUMB.com boys. As we do on a Friday with the weekend game coming up, we take Hammers Headlines as the Dave Moyes press conference section. Early press conference for Moyesy. As always, when you have these European games, which you might not have next year, but maybe we'll talk about that tick. The press conference is not very good. In all honesty, not really selling it much, but he talks about sort of, almost a retrospective look at Europe and obviously looking ahead to the Palace game. We've got 5 Premier League games left to try and see if we can qualify for Europe again, because of the failure of us and Arsenal and Man City and Liverpool. It's 8th will not get you into Europe this year. It will be 7th, best case scenario, and that means with Man City winning the FA Cup, or if Man United or Chelsea win the FA Cup, they have to have qualified already in the league in order to get the 7th spot for the conference. But anyway, let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about what Moyes said about the game yesterday. The praise goes to the players how well they performed. The first half was terrific. I have to say, I thought performance away from home was very, very good as well. I'm only repeat myself what I said last night, that the players over the 2 legs did a brilliant job against an incredibly good side. But unfortunately, we went out. And sometimes in the cup competitions, you need the draws to be favourable for you. And our draw against Leverkusen was one of the toughest we thought we could get in the quarterfinals. Over the last 3 years, 3 quarterfinals we've had, this has been the toughest game, and only we've gone and the only one we've gone out in the last 3 years. And I think that's fair enough to say. I think that's fair enough, isn't it? It's like, we didn't have a great, it was the toughest draw, and we came up short. No doubt. We obviously lunchtime I spoke about it in a bit more detail, but getting your comments and stuff. But clearly, it's the effect of the first leg happened. It meant the second leg was tougher, and they were a good side, but I think we shocked them. I think we shocked them in the first half, and. Yeah, just frustration that, we can't always play, why can't we play that way all the time? And there's been times where we have played that way and then we go back to normality, so to speak, in terms of that Moyes ball. But as I said, 5 games left. Asked about Europe again. He said, well, we'd love to do it again and get back into Europe next season. You have to remember last time we did it by winning a trophy. It wasn't by a league position. This year, our league position has improved greatly. We've been challenging around the top 7 or 8 all season. Obviously, we know the level of the games we've got. We know the level of oppositions. We are challenging as well as for those European positions. It'll be tough. It's another year when we've played 10 or 12 games more than most of the other teams, but we've enjoyed it and we could get back to Europe again. It would be great. The trouble is, if by saying that, if that's the case, then the likes of Chelsea and Spurs, who haven't had European football, should be up the top. They're not. And that's the thing, as I said, when we played the first leg, I think I was reading a great article by Shane Thomas, which was basically saying that, the squad at the moment, the squad depth has meant we've hit a ceiling. And we have, they were for the taking yesterday. They were for the taking yesterday. And it would have taken, throwing on a Fornals, throwing on a Ben Rama, throwing both on, Yes, we didn't, we had players out. Yes, we had players injured. We had players suspended. But once again, it shows, that how to compete on all fronts, you need a sufficient squad. Particularly with the Thursday, Sunday sort of, setup. And obviously, one more Thursday, Sunday setup. Could it be the last one for a while? Possibly, we'll see. Asked about that, he says, I've said many times, it's a difficult program when you're in the Europa Conference League, but we've done it now for 3 years and nearly 40 games on Thursday, Sundays. So you have to get ready for one more Sunday game after a Thursday encounter. And obviously, we do play Crystal Palace asked about Palace, he says, I think going to Palace is always a difficult encounter. I think all the managers would say it's never an easy place to get a result. They've got a terrific support, and it's another tough game. I think they've proved tricky opposition because they've got good players. There's some really talented individuals. The Premier League every week is the same. You can talk about how you can talk big about what the opposition are because the level of the Premier League is so high. And obviously, following our being dumped out of the Europa League semi-final, well, not the semi-final stage, but going into the semi-final stage. Obviously, the last time we were in the Europa League, we got dumped out of the semi-final stage by Eintracht Frankfurt, managed by Oliver Glasner, who is obviously, we know, the manager of Crystal Palace. So, what did Moyes say about that? What did he say? He said we came up against Oliver Glasner when he was at Eintracht Frankfurt, so I'm well aware of him. It's good to see he's come over to the Premier League, as he is a very good manager. They've had a brilliant win over Liverpool last week, which is difficult to do. But I think Liverpool had a game on Thursday night before as well, and which could have some effect on it. We need to go there, and we need to win. We want to try and win all of our games. And then finally, he was asked about George Earthy. There wasn't much team news discussion because, as always, this was an early morning press conference, and they've literally just turned up, so we don't really know much team news. I'm sure stuff like that will trickle out with the embargo section, or as and when we see how players are. But he was asked about George, and in terms of what he said about George's recovery, he's doing great. He was in watching the training the other day, looks fine, but obviously we're following all the protocols required. He's not in contention this weekend with the head injury protocol. And indeed, by what Anton was saying, it looks like we're going to take a really slow approach with George. I imagine you might see him towards the end of the season back in the West Ham first team squad, but within the under 21s, we've got two more league games, something like that, and then we go into the knockout stages, under 21s, which I think you're likely to see George for. And that was it. As I said, as and when things come out, we'll let you know. But don't forget to check out these at mummabrand.com for your latest news, reviews, and opinions. And we may well even see Irish Tommy tonight. Who knows? Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith. Irons.